Hello, everyone. Today, our topic of discussion is immunity, and I'm sharing you what I have covered in this. In this lecture, I have covered introduction of immunity, classification of immunity, and then in classification, since immunity is classified as immunity and acquired immunity, here we will be discussing about innate immunity and mechanism of innate immunity. Acquired immunity, I will be taking in the next class. So let's come to understand basically what is immunity. On the right side, I have put certain diagrams. They are the diagrams of immune cells which help us in immunity. So what is immunity? Immunity is ability of the body to recognize the enemy that is entering inside the body. That means this body knows what is self. So whatever foreign will be entering inside this body, this there are certain cells and things placed in order to recognize these are the foreign bodies, they can harm us. Then they will resist the entry of the foreign bodies, and it will reject, they will also reject and defend. So immunity is there to help the body recognize all the foreign elements that can damage the body. So our body knows what is self. How it knows what is self is another topic of discussion. In immunity, what we are discussing, that body's ability, individual body's ability to recognize, resist, reject, and defend itself from foreign organisms or pathogens or toxins. Organism microbes can be bacteria, viruses, and bacteria, viruses, fungi. They can be toxins. So all these are recognized our by the process which is finely fixed in our body. That is immunity. So going back to the triple R that I have talked: resist, recognize, resist, and reject. How it is going on? It is this all can be controlled by the network of cells, tissues, and organs. To control this, we are talking about the types or classification of immunity. Two types, or immunity can be classified into two types. One is innate immunity, another is acquired. Immunity is also called as natural or non-specific immunity, while acquired immunity can be adaptive or specific, can also be called adaptive or specific immunity. Why all these names are given, alternative names are given, we are going to discuss that also. So coming to innate immunity, it is present since birth. It is innate, it's present since birth, and it provides the first line of defense. So they are non-specific, they just rush and fight. So how they are fighting and how they are coming to know that this is enemy, that we will discuss in mechanism. Here I am talking about that this innate immunity is non-specific because it no specific kind of signal or specific kind of molecules are needed to arouse innate immunity. So it's non-specific, it is not also memorizing the molecules with which it is fighting, or the microbes to which this immunity is fighting against. So this is they are non-specific, without memory, and they are natural, inborn. They are present since birth in an individual's body. So how it is, there are different components which are helping. So I've just put the names of the components, but we will discussing this in detail in the next slides. So when we talk about mechanism of innate immunity, we will talk of, I told you innate immunity is first line of defense. In innate immunity, again we will talk about first line of defense and second line of defense in case of innate immunity. So first line of defense in innate immunity is by physical and chemical barriers, and second line this is not second, but innate immunity we will talk about recognition of pathogens also. How is this placed? Let's discuss this. So when I was talking about physical and chemical barriers, then first, which is very visible to you, is the skin. Skin is present all over the body, and so we are, our internal organs are protected because of the skin, that is thick layer, epidermis and dermis. And we know if there is a slight cut in the epidermis itself, then only we can get infected by n number of microorganisms, or we can the pathogens may grow inside our skin, and it can lead to dangerous lethal diseases also. This is about the externally we are covered and protected by a physical barrier, that is skin. So skin is giving us immunity. Under the skin, inside the organs, we are protected by mucous membrane. All around the GIT, mucous membrane is there. Respiratory tract is covered with mucous membrane. So mucous membrane also trap the microbes and protect us. Then, when we talk about chemical barriers, then you should remember that saliva has lysozyme, while stomach acid has high pH, that also protect us from um, infection by pathogens, different kind of microorganisms. So then when we talk about the first line of defense in form of recognition of pathogens, so the thing is the external physical barriers are protecting us, but are trying to protect us from, that is the first line. But if somehow microorganisms or microbes, pathogens enters inside, and they cross the physical or chemical barrier, then what will happen? Then in innate immunity itself, the thing that comes is recognition of pathogens. How is it possible? It is possible because our immune cells are covered with pattern recognition receptors. So they have pattern recognition receptors on the outer surface of immune cells. So whenever they are like taking a detective device, they are on their surface they have a detective device, and what can they detect? So these PRRs detect what? They detect pattern associated, they detect pathogen associated molecular patterns. So whatever molecular patterns are present on pathogens, these are detected by pattern recognition receptors. So recognition receptors are the ones which will recognize the pathogens. So these pattern recognition receptors are present in toll-like receptors. So where are these toll-like receptors present? They are present on immune cells. So this is the physical and the chemical barrier, then recognition of patterns by the immune cells. Now next, what next? Next is there will be a cellular response. Since the patterns has been recognized, so what second line of defense in case of innate immunity is cellular response. What is that cellular response? Phagocytosis will be initiated by phagocytic cells. In the next slide we will read what are the phagocytic cells, but phagocytosis will be initiated, and what will happen in this case? In case of phagocytosis, the organisms which are enemy of cell, will be recognized and will be put to phagosomes, and there they will be eaten up by this is a detailed process, but just remember they will be eaten up. So engulfing and eating up will take taken care. So thus in this way enemy will be destroyed. Then this phagocytosis can be followed by inflammation, and inflammation is just then this when the phagocytosis is going on, at that time only it will release signals that there is an attack. When their signals will be released, what will happen? Those signals, cell to cell talk will take place, and the mast cells over there will start releasing histamine, cytokines, and prostaglandins also. So these molecules will be released, and when these molecules will be released, then more number of leukocytes will be attracted towards the site of invasion. So that may result in redness, heat, swelling, and pain. You must have seen when there is a fight going on inside a body, our immunity is trying to recover us, then the temperature also increases. So if when there is a slight increase in temperature, we should not worry, because that is a protection that's going on. So our body is trying to protect by raising the temperature. It's a kind of inflammation. Then swelling and pain is also there. So these are the signs which tells us that the fight between immune cells and the enemy is going on. At the place where this is going on, there will be increase in blood flow and more immune cells will be recruited. We will read inflammation also in detail. Then natural killer cells are also present, and these cells are like, the if a cell gets infected, now there is no chance of saving that cell, but infection of that particular cell can cause other cells of the body also get contaminated because of that infection which is present in one cell. So what natural killer cells are going to do? They are going to kill those infected cells. So the role of natural killer cell is to clean up, clean the infected cells. If cells which are cancerous, or by killing those infected cells, they stop the replication of microbes also, particularly in case of viruses. Then, what are the cells which are recruited for phagocytosis? The name of those cells are neutrophils, monocytes, eosinophils, basophils. While basophils are minimal phagocytic activity, have minimal phagocytic activity, while neutrophils are largest in number, they are the first to rush. And then monocytes, when enters inside the tissues, there they get specialized and they are called macrophages and dendritic cells, depending upon the tissue where they are present. So, dendritic cells and macrophages are the monocytes which were flowing in the blood, but they have entered into the tissues and they get a new name. So, and then in the second line of defense also, second line of defense of innate immunity, few more things happens. That is, first is fourth is complement system activation. Complement is something which is complementing both, helping both kind of immunities, that is innate and acquired. In case of innate immunity, what complement is doing? Complement is providing opsonization. What is opsonization? They are tagging the pathogens. They just tag the pathogens so that phagocytosis can be fast enough. Engulfment becomes fast because that particular microorganism, that particular pathogen is tagged. So this is the role what complement is doing, tagging and calling more immune cells. Then it can directly lyse also some microbial cells. It can directly lyse, that is by membrane attack complex. So it can directly kill also. This we can read in detail in complement system, which I have already covered in my previous videos. Then there is a release of interferons also. What are interferons? Interferons are the molecules that are going to kill viruses. So our body can protect us from lot many kinds of viruses by producing interferons. This that is why antivirals are not given very early during viral infections, because our body do have a capacity to produce interferons. Secondary infections do not occur, so we start prescribing certain kinds of antibiotics. But body can protect itself from viruses by producing interferons, and that happens through innate immunity only. So this interferons can protect us. That was the second line of defense by innate immunity. So innate immunity helps us in defending our body by at the four different levels, that is anatomic level, that is skin and mucosa, then physiologic level by increasing temperature, pH and certain chemical mediators, endocytic and phagocytic level. Endocytic level is internalizing of pathogen itself, while in phagocytosis, phagosomes, the microbes is thrown into phagosomes or engulfed by phagosomes, while internalization directly into the cell is endocytic activity. In that way also, by lysozymes, the enemy can be destroyed and immunity works. And certain inflammatory molecules that we have already discussed, that the histamines, prostaglandins are secreted.